Some people have a way of carrying us that makes us stronger, writes theologian Rowan Williams. Another theologian, James Allison, adds that the opposite of love is not hate, but the refusal to imagine another person's pain. Those two insights flow deeply through the scriptures this weekend. In Exodus, God carries his people on eagle's wings. In Matthew's Gospel, Jesus sees humanity like sheep without a shepherd. Both images reveal a God who does not stand far off from suffering, but comes close to carry, guide, heal, and restore. Before Israel receives commandments in Exodus, God first reminds them that they were carried. Covenant begins not with law, but with compassion. Israel survives because God attends to suffering rather than ignoring it. That insight feels urgently contemporary. Dr. Mike Ryan, the Irish physician and former executive director of the World Health Organization's Health Emergencies Program, recently expressed deep concern about the shockingly low life expectancy in parts of Dublin's inner city. Behind those statistics lie lives shaped by trauma, addiction, violence, poverty, loneliness, and despair. Yet Dublin is not unique. Similar realities exist in deprived communities throughout the world. In many places, people die younger, not simply because of illness, but because hope itself has been eroded over generations. The book Childhood Builds Survival and Adulthood Reveals It helps explain why. One of its central insights is that children adapt in order to survive environments that feel unsafe. But those same survival strategies often become destructive patterns in adulthood. The anxious child may become the fearful adult. Emotional neglect can later appear as addiction, aggression, or withdrawal. As the book observes, survival responses are intelligent adaptations to painful circumstances. Much behavior society condemns often begins as wounded resilience. St. Paul's message to the Romans speaks directly into this reality. Christ dies for humanity while we were still helpless. God does not wait for people to become whole before loving them. The gospel calls Christians beyond judgment into deeper understanding of wounded humanity. Another emerging wound today concerns the growing negative impact of AI on students and young adults. Increasing numbers of educators fear that artificial intelligence is diminishing attention spans, weakening critical thinking, reducing resilience, and quietly undermining authentic learning. Many students inhabit a world where information is instantly available, but wisdom, imagination, and interior depth are weakening. Technology can now simulate competence without forming character. Again, Childhood Builds Survival and Adulthood Reveals It offers insight. Human beings grow emotionally through attentive relationships, struggle, creativity, and reflection. If young people retreat into digital dependence and technology-mediated identities, emotional and intellectual growth can become stunted. AI risks becoming not merely a tool, but a refuge from vulnerability, effort, and real encounter. This explains the emotional force of Matthew's Gospel. Jesus sees crowds who are troubled and abandoned. The lost sheep today include those trapped in addiction and despair, but also students overwhelmed by distraction, anxiety, loneliness, and digital overexposure. Some are spiritually homeless, despite being permanently connected online. Jesus responds by calling shepherds. Simon, Andrew, James, and John are not called into prestige, but into compassionate labor. They are asked to heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, and cast out destructive spirits. In today's world, that mission requires extraordinary skills. Shepherds now must understand trauma, mental health, addiction, technology, loneliness, and the complexity of modern life. They must know how to listen deeply, accompany patiently, and create spaces where people rediscover dignity and meaning. The shepherds we need today may be teachers, counselors, parents, community workers, priests, and mentors, and they must be capable of compassionate presence rather than distant authority. They must also be people capable of guiding the digital world wisely. Shepherds, mentors, curators, creators, monitors, and evaluators who help ensure that AI remains a gift that serves human dignity rather than a force that diminishes it. The eagle's wings and the shepherd's staff belong together. People need both protection and guidance, truth and tenderness. Yet, the gospel remains profoundly hopeful. Jesus insists that the harvest is rich. Beneath wounded survival patterns and digital confusion, there remains immense goodness and longing for meaning. What is needed are new shepherds capable of helping people rise again. People who know how to carry others on eagle's wings until they can finally stand. Amen.